So when I was 11, I believe it was. Now, this is me going to church. So I go to church and I meet a friend. So his friend is the engineer at the church. So I'm going to go spend the weekend over my new church guy's friend's house. He lives in Long Island. So in the process of me going over there, I go to the church. I have to wait for his dad to prepare to get ready to take me to the house. Well, all the musicians, they start bringing in all this equipment. So I don't know what the stuff is. It's like boxes of equipment, drum machines, and I didn't know what those things were. So literally they start bringing the stuff in and they start setting it up. So I'm laying on a pew, kind of like bored, sleeping, looking up at the sky, whatever. And they bring in this drum machine and these crazy looking synthesizers. So I would get up and I walk over and I'm looking at them like, man, what does that do? So one of the guys says, hit that button. So I hit the button and it makes a drum sound. I'm like, whoa. And they start laughing like, no, go ahead, hit it again. So I hit it again. It's like, go ahead, hit all the buttons, just hit all the buttons. So, I start hitting the buttons. It's like, wow, this is cool. This is so cool.
Lift your mic up a little bit. Yeah.
All right. So I have my introduction to drum machines and synthesizers at age 11.
Right.
So I go back and I sit back down and I'm like, man, this is exciting. What are you guys doing? And they say, hey, we're gonna record. So literally I sat there at age 11 and watched these musicians produce a song, record the music. The singer came out and sung a song. They took me up into the booth with the mixing board and let me hear it back as they mixed and produced this song.
Wow.
I'm 11.
Right.
That night, I just sat back and I said, I know what I want to do for the rest of my life.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the great thing about it is that no one prevented me from touching the instrument or playing the instrument. They welcomed me to play the instrument. If I had been the type of child who was out ripping, running, so forth, and doing this, then my temperament would have been different.
Right, you wouldn't have been.
So they would not have been willing for me to touch everything because I probably would have walked over and just started touching it without asking their permission.
Right.
But I just walked over and looked at everything, and they noticed that. Mm-hmm. So needless to say, that was when I was 11. By the time I turned 18. The person who let me play the instruments was now a Grammy-winning music producer. And he heard a demo tape that I did because I was into I want to do music. I didn't know what it was called. That's what I want to do. So by the time I graduated high school, I had 2 drum machines, 3 keyboards, and a 4-track. My English teacher, I was in a special English class, and he said, your assignment is to do anything that you want, but you have to do it from start to finish, and you have to present a project. Mm-hmm. So my project was a gospel album.
Wow.
So when I did the artwork and everything, presented him with the gospel album, and he said, did you do all of that? I said, yeah. He came back, he listened to it, he came back to me, he said, you got an A+. That was awesome. I never had training. No one showed me how to play a keyboard. No one showed me how to play drum machines other than that. It's just basically just getting the instrument and spending the time to find out what it did.
Right.
So now I graduate high school. I'm 19. And the person who let me play the drum machine when I was 11, who's now a Grammy nominated producer, here's about a tape that I...
Are we just going to know him as the person, or are you
I know who he is, but I'm going to wait for
his name. Of course you do, but they don't.
Hey, I'm trying to have some secrecy building up to the big thing. You know what I'm saying? Butter, bing, butter.
You're building it up. I appreciate that.
So this person who's now worked with multiple, very talented people, here's a demo tape that I did, and says, hey, I want you to come out to my recording studio. I'm like, wow, okay. Man, he's interested in what I'm doing. I'm like, okay. So 1 week comes up. He says, hey, I want you to come out. I go to his house, takes me down in the basement, and he has like wall to wall, like SSL, you know, it wasn't an SSL, it was a soundtrack board. Like literally I could put a blanket and a pillow and lay on it and that could be a bed. That's how big this thing was. Buttons everywhere. S1000, S950 samplers, mini Moogs, a whole wall full of like just lights, camera, lights and all kinds of things. And I'm like, wow. So he comes in and he says, let me show you how things work. And one by one, he goes through each device and points and says, it goes here. That, plays it, it goes here. He shows me everything in the room and he leaves. He left me in the room. So I'm just sitting there like, okay, what am I supposed to do? So then he comes back in, he said, you're not doing nothing? I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do. He says, man, just do what you want to do. Do you need me to help you with anything? I said, no. He says, all right, have fun, knock yourself out. 2 days I spent in the room. Literally, I had done so much music, played around and done so much stuff that I was like, okay, where is he? So I go, I'm like, the house is all quiet. So I go upstairs. He's knocked out, sleeping. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to wake him up. I go back down and eventually he comes down and he listens to the stuff that we did. He's like, you just did all of that? I said, yeah. He says, I want to play you something. So he now plays me a song. He says, that beat that you did? Yeah. I want to add your beat to that track right there. I'm like, for real? He's like, yeah. And he starts doing what he's doing. And I'm sitting there like, wow. Holy moly. That song actually wound up being a remix on Motown for Malira. I was 19 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. His name is Lawrence Holland. All right, he produced a lot of Mariah Carey's Christmas albums. He's worked with Lauryn Hill, Anthony Hamilton, Celine Dion. I mean, some pretty big names, you know. And he is a master musician, you know. So when I think about musicians and playing keyboards and things like that, he literally can write a cantata in strings, symphonies, instruments, the whole nine, and then turn around and produce a song for Janet Jackson. Right. So that's what a producer is. A producer is, it brings out who the artist is. It just doesn't, well, this is me. You should be glad to be on one of my beats. No, a producer
actually works with
an artist to bring out who that artist is. It makes the artist shine because it's not about the producer, it's about the artist. Right. That's what he taught me. You know, to this day, he and I still work. We actually just released a new track called Clouds. Nice. Inspirational, different things like that. We've constantly always worked together off and on. We've done commercials together, jingles together. And he is the one person that is still in my life hard from when I was a teenager. You know, so I'm grateful for him for taking the time to say, hey, get off that drum machine. Right. You know, so that, it's like, I think everything that occurred in my life, it occurred for a specific reason to make me who I'm supposed to be. I don't even know if I'm that person yet.
Listen, guys, we're doing great things here at the Lamplight Productions. And you can be a part of it for the low price of $0 and 0 cents. Because all you got to do is subscribe. Ring the bell, ding dong, you can't go wrong. Or don't. It's a free country. Do whatever you want. Though I don't know how you can live with yourself.